I got it. Mm-hmm. Hi, Kat. I always love it. You help me out so much to know if this is working or not. Maybe I can bring him in a little closer. Since it's yin, yeah, I think so. Okay, friends, welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name is Kristen. I'll be guiding you through this restorative practice. I want to do a mala chant with you today, so if you do have a mala handy, grab it. I just spilled some water on me. I love this chant that Gwen taught to me. So again, if you don't have a mala, you just can listen, you can participate, do whatever feels best to you. And then I'd also say have some sort of support nearby. If you have blocks, awesome. Blocks are great. I got a couple of them here. There's also couch cushions. If you're lucky enough to have some sort of bolster or blanket, grab that. And then we'll get started here in a moment. And again, of course, if any of you want to say anything, like you can hear me well, you can see me well. Hoping my internet is working today. And my cat will definitely get involved here, but it's just, she loves this chant. She won't leave me alone, so she's ready for it. All right, so get the support that you need. Get your mala if you have one. If you're sitting on a block or a bolster or edge of your blanket, I would really recommend coming to the very edge of it so that you have that nice anterior tilt to your pelvis, natural curvature of the lower spine, and then just allow yourself to breathe naturally. So those of you who aren't familiar, the way the chant works is it goes in rounds of 5. So I count out the 5, and then the tone changes slightly for the 4. So I count them out. I do my best to keep track, and that's why the mala really helps. So this is a chant to Ganesh, the remover of all obstacles. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Count out the 5 beads if you're using your mala. Om Gam Ganapate Namah. 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 Om Gam Ganapati 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 Namah. And there's the guru beat at the end, where I like to say a prayer to the earth, to the world. Okay. So we begin our practice here. If you want to start your yin playlist now, whether that link works for you or if you want to jump onto Spotify on your phone, have it on that yin playlist. You can start it right now. And then I'm going to stretch for the feet first, because my feet have really been bothering me a bit. So you can have your 2 blocks or bolsters or some sort of support here. And we'll do our toe stretch. Works better here. So So this toe stretch, it can be fairly intense. So I usually only do it for about a minute. And I'll time us. I'll be sure to time us. Start to keep a cadence, some sort of rhythm to your breath that's just calming to you. So what you have to do here is you lean forward onto your support or your couch cushion or whatever works, and you have to tuck all 10 toes underneath you. Sometimes we need to help the little baby toe underneath. You're going to tuck those toes under. I'll start the 1 minute here. So if you lean back, you'll probably feel the intensity right away. I know I do. But it stretches out the fascia of the feet. And if you do have plantar fasciitis, anything like that, just be mild with this. Sometimes you'll notice leaning forward takes a bit of the pressure out. And if you lean back, you'll really feel it. So that's why I only do this for a minute. I think that's plenty. Breathe deep. Couple more breaths here. One more deeper inhalation and exhalation. And then this is one of my favorite releases, is you come out, hands to the floor, your support, start to tap it out. Turn that circulation through your legs. Then we'll just sit here for a moment. You can always put a block or some sort of support under your hips. A couple breaths. And this is one of my favorite sequences, so I'm repeating some things here. But tadpole, some of you probably know it as child's pose. So I always recommend some sort of support. Some of you might not need anything, but we'll be here for about 4 minutes. So padding under the knees, if you need it, find your blanket. You might need it under your knees. Bring them wide. You might need to be a bit closer together. So for tadpole, since we're here for so long, some people need some support underneath their legs so your feet don't fall asleep, okay? And then as we come on forward, know that you have lots of options. You could simply have a block under your head. You could cradle up, snuggle up with a bolster. I like to let students know when we're halfway through, so that if you want to turn your head to one side or do something that's kind of asymmetrical, you know when that halfway point is, you can switch things out. So let's start the timing here. I'll let you know when we're halfway through. Note that if anything is a bit uncomfortable, then you have this opportunity to rearrange your body. Check in, move things around, get to a point where you can be still. And then if that's still not working, then I just say find a comfortable position. Find something that works for you in this moment. Maybe get a bit creative. Usually in public classes, I'm quite quiet, but I'll speak a touch more here and there, just so that you know that I'm here. If you're joining with me with the music, hopefully you enjoy it. So as we approach this halfway mark, if you did something asymmetrical with your head, anything like that, switch it out. And take such deep breaths that you can feel the backside body rise and fall. We'll take about another minute here. Also know that if you need something a bit more restorative for your shoulders, you drop your arms down by your sides. If you've not already rearranged. Just a couple more breaths here. One more inhale. Nice, long, deep exhalation. Take your time as you exit this posture. So if you need a touch of movement, come into tabletop, remove your support. Perhaps a few moments of just a little bit of cow and cat. And then we'll come into supported Sphinx pose. So I love the support under my chest. Some of you might be totally fine with simply the block. As you slide your legs back, you'll bring your forearms to the earth. They're parallel to the long edges of your mat. And elbows are under your shoulders, so you can simply just do the block. But I feel really comfortable and able to settle into the posture with some support underneath my chest. And the legs can be a bit wide here, especially if that takes any strain out of your low back. Legs can be a bit together. We'll take about 3 minutes or so here. Sometimes I've tried chin to the block, and it just, after time, doesn't work great for my cervical spine. So whatever the appropriate height is with your support, settle in. See if you can soften your glutes just a bit. Just a couple more breaths. And then now that we're approaching that halfway mark, perhaps you just stay. Perhaps you want to remove some support, add something in. Just a few more deep breaths here. And as you prepare to exit the posture, you can slowly take away your support. You can lift up. I like to windshield wiper my legs a bit after this. Loosen up the low back. Now this great one is for the outer hips. So primarily this is where you will feel it. I want to give you a couple options for those of you with different ranges of motion. Guaranteed you'll probably need some sort of support, blankets, blocks, couch cushions. So half shoelace, I think is plenty, it's appropriate. You'll extend your left leg. And as you bend the right leg, you'll stack your knees. Now, those of you with, again, way more range of motion, and you think that'll work for you, we'll do about 3 minutes here on each side. Both knees can be bent. You'll really feel that through the outer hips and outer glutes. You can even put support between the legs, support for your head. I know I'll use some. Otherwise, if that doesn't work for you, all you simply do again is extend the bottom leg. Take a deep breath in wherever you are. I'll start the timing here. As you exhale, fold forward. And then again, I'll let you know that halfway mark. So if you want to get deeper halfway, you can stack your knees and bend them both. Otherwise, come on forward. Just showing you all the options. I also feel it a bit in my low back. I think it depends on the depth. And a bit in my hamstring if the leg is extended. One more full inhalation. Nice long exhalation. And as you come on up, you'll probably need the same support. We'll take just a gentle twist here. Just a gentle twist and hold here. To your right. So in the direction of your front bent leg. Couple more breaths. And eventually you'll make your way back to center. So we'll do the same thing on the second side. You'll have the same choices. Half shoelace, both knees are bent. And at that halfway mark, you can change things up or join me in the twist. So find what works for your body. Just know that each side is different. This side might feel A little bit different sensation in the hips. Start the timer, inhale, sit up tall. And whether both legs are bent or whatever you have, come on down into it. Again, I do feel it in my outer hips, especially if I have both legs bent. Definitely feel that in the back of the hips. With the leg extended, I feel it down the length of my extended leg, my hamstrings into my calves, and definitely into my low back. So as we approach that halfway mark, same options here: to stay, to extend the bottom leg, to bend it at both knees, or we'll add in that twist. Deep breath in. And then exhale, turn to your left, your personal left. And when I do this, I feel more sensation through the outer left hip. Keep your chin parallel to the floor as you glide it over your back shoulder. Two more breaths. And slowly come back to center. One of my favorite releases is to bend the knees and just windshield wiper. It helps to get into hips, outer hips too. Okay, we're approaching that halfway mark of practice. So that's when I like to check in, grab some water. Bridge pose, I'm doing my favorite poses today. Bridge pose, and then I take it a little deeper into the psoas, front of the hips. So I'm a big fan of 2 blocks if you have this accessible, or find something that can maybe match the height. And the blocks have lots of heights, right? Tall height, medium height, small height, sorry, medium height, 2 blocks side by side. For supported bridge pose, have those blocks, or maybe it's a couch cushion or support, that'll do too. So at this halfway mark, I'll offer to get a little deeper. I think some of you know this because it's my favorite. I add it into almost every yin class I teach. So as you recline, it doesn't matter all that much the spacing of your feet. Since we have support, there shouldn't be too much strain on your knees. So as you recline, come on down, look up towards the sky, press into your feet, and on the inhale, lift your hips, slide those 2 blocks at the medium height side by side if that works for you. And then I often like to put hands behind my head just to support my cervical spine. Well, the front side body, open up. You might already feel yourself wanting to rearrange your feet, your legs, the height of the blocks. Be intuitive with your practice. Listen to your body. But if it's just a deep sensation, see if you can check in with the breath and just be with that sensation. Don't overthink it. If there's strain or if there's pain, then you back out. See if you can soften a bit, surrender into the support. So as we approach the halfway mark, I'll give you some options. For one, you can absolutely stay. But as we transition, if you get into it, it doesn't feel right to your body, know you can return to the shape we're in right now. Otherwise, here's your options to extend one leg. I like both, but if that's causing any strain, just do the one leg. I'll let you know when we're about halfway. Another option, whether one leg is straight or both, is to really open up through the front side body and bring your arms overhead. And this is great for those of you who like to run or walk, even cycle. You're in that constant flexion with the hip, and this is kind of being an oppositional movement of that. Okay, so those of you who did simply the one leg straight, this is the time to switch out that other leg. Find some equanimity with the body. Again, arms can be overhead. If that didn't work, take them to a place where they do work. Another couple of breaths here. Okay, so those of you who did one leg straight at a time, bring both legs, everyone bring both legs back to the mat, both feet back to the mat. And then we're going to exit this nice and easy. Keep your gaze up, press into your feet to lift your hips enough so you can remove the support and then find some sort of support, whether it's blocks, couch cushions, blankets, and we'll come into butterfly pose. Feet together, knees open. You might feel like the feet need to go a bit more forward or a bit back. Under your thighs or under your knees is really going to be a preference depending on the mobility of your hips. Often I like to bring something underneath my head. It doesn't always work, but it depends on the day. Take about 2 minutes here. Arms and hands, wherever you want them to be. I like one hand at heart, one hand at belly. Hear the breath. Just let that breath calm and soothe your mind and your nervous system. Take about another minute here. About 2 more deep breaths. And if you want to stay a bit longer in this posture, great. Feel free. Otherwise, I like to help myself out of this with my hands. Knees into chest, circular movement. Massage out your lower back. And we'll make our way into a seated position. You can rock and roll several times if you want. And then as we set up for some of the last postures, be sure you do have some sort of cushion or blanket for when we get into our final twist. I want to do banana pose. It's one of my favorite ones too. So think like a banana, how it's curved, and that's the shape we're making with our body. So if you need to watch first, this is what it looks like. You'll take your left leg is going to go off the boundaries of your yoga mat. And the right ankle will cross over that left leg. And you should be down on the floor, and then you really reach in the opposite direction. I like to pull on my wrist. Let's just take a little bit of time here. I always gently pull on the opposite wrist, and then no, that's the opposite way. Sorry. That didn't feel quite right. So legs are over to my left, upper body to my left. That right hip often wants to rock off the floor, so gently guide it down. So you should feel this nice elongated stretch through the lateral side of your right body. We definitely feel the sensation, lower right back, outer hip. Don't overthink this pose. It's like standing half moon. It's side body stretch. Let's say about another minute here. I generally feel like there's not much rearrangement needed with this posture. But often I can take my feet a little bit more to the left, stretch my upper body a little bit more to the left. Let's say 2 more deeper breaths here. And then once those 2 breaths are complete, come on out. I like to do a little mini X shape for a moment with my body. And I also like to take the feet wide to the edges of my mat and rebound a bit. Just I call it windshield wiper legs, loosening up the hips and the back. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So banana pose. This time you'll take your right foot past the boundary of the right edge of your mat. Cross your left ankle over that right ankle. So as you recline, you'll pull your body to the same direction that your feet are in. So again, I like to do the wrist pull. I grab a hold of my left wrist and then help guide it over to the right. The side might feel a bit different. We're not necessarily symmetrical beings. Take a couple minutes here. So again, we're not here long in this side body stretch. If you're familiar with like the hot practice, or even it can be part of vinyasa, think just standing half moon. It's not that you want to force yourself to the side body stretch, but allow yourself to get a bit deeper if that's possible. Feet a little bit more to the right, upper body a little bit more to the right without forcing it. Couple more breaths here. Now again, as you exit, take a moment in kind of a mini pentacle pose, just like a little X with your body. And then once again, any movement for your hips, your legs. So as we move into our final twist, I think it's really important to have some sort of support. Couch cushion works great. I guess you could use blocks or a rolled up blanket, but ideally what we want, because the twist is a longer hold, is femur bones are parallel to each other. So I'll try to show this for a moment. We'll put the support between our legs, but once you come into it, you don't want your knees up really, really high towards your chest, nor do you want your knees back too far. You're really looking for that 90-degree angle, femur bones parallel to each other and perpendicular to your spine. So set yourself up. Sometimes I even need support under my legs, so whatever's going to work best for you. We'll do about 4 minutes here on each side. So I'll set my timer, get yourself set up. I think the twist often takes a little bit of time to get right in your body. So legs will go to your left first. Be sure your legs are going left first. And then often I need blanket, something to pad the right shoulder. As you lie down, again, feet aren't too far back, they're not too far forward. Get yourself situated. You'll lie your shoulder down to whatever support or the floor that works for you, and then gaze to your right. I'll still let us know when we're halfway through. Doesn't mean you have to change anything. I feel like it's simply nice to know where we are in time and space. Take one more breath, and that's when we approach the halfway mark, just so you know where you are. But of course, you have that opportunity if you need to rearrange legs, your hips, add in more support, take some out. We have just around a minute here on this first side of the twist. Take about 3 deep breaths here. Okay, so as you're ready to exit, I'm a big fan of helping my legs out of this position, just so everything's gentle and easy. Now, as we prepare for the twist on the second side, I often like to bump my hips a little bit more to my left. So go to your left, move your hips a little bit. Have whatever support is needed. Again, I like the blanket underneath my shoulder. So I'll lift my legs, that 90-degree angle won't change. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, let your legs fall to your right. And then once they do, check in that the legs aren't down too low, knees aren't up too high, perpendicular femur bones to your spine. And then if you use that blanket, which again I love, lay over it. To the best of your ability, hips are stacked. We'll take the same amount of time on this side. So I'd say check in with the breath. You know, sometimes mind can wander, but stay present, stay here. All you have to focus on is what takes place on your mat in this moment. And then again, as we approach that kind of halfway mark, there's usually not too much to rearrange here. So listen to your music, check in with your body, check in with the breath. One more minute here. I just think twists are always a great way to close your practice, bring some equilibrium back to the body, clearing out the internal organs. Perhaps a little bit of more mobility through the spine once we've been doing the movement. So one more breath here. And then again, I like to help my legs back to center. Remove whatever support you used, cushions, blankets, and then take a moment here for some self-love. Hug your knees into your chest. A little bit of wind-removing pose, but I also think it helps to massage out your low back, especially if you come side to side. If there's any other movement you like here, if you want happy babies, anything like that, great. Otherwise, if you do have a wall that's available, you don't need to move your mat, but you can if you want. You scoot your hips to the wall and you slide your legs up the wall. You can also do it with a block underneath your hips. You just send your legs up. A little bit of reverse gravity there for those of you who have leg issues, circulation issues. And then you can stay there for as long as it feels right and then move back to your mat for Shavasana, or you can stay there the whole time. We'll take about, let's say 2 minutes here. We don't need too long of a Shavasana after again. We've been fairly still and quiet most of practice. And then I'll call you out after those 2 minutes. Take 2 more deeper breaths here. And especially if you have that gift of time, if you're exactly where you need to be, just stay, breathe, take a longer rest, heal. Those of you who need to exit, just invite a little bit of movement into your hands, feet, arms, your legs. Perhaps move your head a bit side to side. And on your next inhalation, full body stretch, especially if you're on the floor. Reach your arms overhead like you're waking up for the very first time today. And then from there, you can turn on to your right side. That's pretty traditional, but whatever side calls to you. Fetal position, bend your knees, rest your head. Just give yourself a few moments. And then take your time as you press yourself up into some sort of comfortable seated position. It could be half lotus, full lotus, crisscross applesauce. Whatever helps you find a longer spine. Then you'll fold your palms together at heart center, Anjali Mudra. As we bow forward together, know that it's such an honor and a privilege to be able to guide you. Please share this with friends, people who need it. Stay tuned for special treats like chanting and maybe some hip work. Please let me know if you personally have any questions. I'll stay on for a moment if you want to chat, or if you want to email me, yogikristen@gmail.com, YogiKristen@gmail.com, and I'll try to put in whatever your requests are for either music or postures. Remind yourselves that when we do yoga together, we don't just do it for ourselves, we do it for the entire world. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings in all the worlds be happy, free of suffering, and at peace. Bowing forward in gratitude, namaste. Okay, let me know if you have questions. I'm going to put a comment in the chat. I'll finish this up with a very short variation, abbreviated variation of another Ganesh chant. Sharanam Ganesha, Sharanam Ganesha, Sharanam Ganesha, Sharanam Ganesha. Okay, friends, have a great rest of your week.